when we want to live abroad, there's a lot of challenges. You have to learn a new language, culture, and as well as find new friendships, new work opportunities, and just trying to do your best to be optimistic that everything is going to work out. When I went to school here, I tried to do that to learn the language as well as keeping up with the studies. And I realized very quickly that it was a challenge to do all these things, and that there was still part of me that, in a way, was asking themselves why I found myself in this new country having to do all these things when I was quite happy in Italy. And obviously, I experienced a lot of some degree of racism, I would say here, because obviously um, in the UK there's a lot of television that kind of mocks Italians. I remember the BBC once had a documentary of spaghetti growing on trees, so the pasta uh, being a natural product that grows naturally, which is obviously complete and utter falsehood. Falsehood. You have to manufacture pasta. It's not a natural product. It's a man-made creation, and also the accent was mocked. So there was a Dolmio advert. Now Dolmio is a famous sauce brand here in the UK, and they would use a heavily, ridiculously accented cartoon to ask the question of if they when they would be having this sauce. And a lot of kids, when they would come and talk to me, they would sometimes use this accent or try to attempt making this accent to ask me questions such as, "Do you eat pizza and pasta every day?" And also, uh, since Italy is so much better, why did you move here and why aren't you moving back? Which I found quite a malicious and nasty questions, which had hostile undertones associated to it. But and eventually I kind of you know had to develop thick skin and accept that I was gonna get you know uh, some of this behavior towards me. But obviously, one of the highlights of being Italian is seeing how famous Italian food is. Particularly if you go out, you see a lot of groceries and restaurants and bars and ice cream parlors, which are Italian. And obviously, if you read the history of Wales, a lot of Italians moved here in the late 1800s to work in the mines, and some of them, the more entrepreneurial ones, started their own businesses to cater to those mines. And their services and products really caught fire here, and they are still as relevant and as famous and as appreciated today as they were back then. So there's a big Italian influence here, and this is everywhere in every corner of the UK, not just here in Wales. There's a lot of major brands like Costa Coffee. That's one of the major high street brands that was created by two Italian brothers in 1970s. That was recently bought by Coca-Cola, so now they're one of the biggest coffee chains in the UK. But the masterminds behind the brand were two Italian brothers, and there's a lot more. Whether it's a restaurant business and also takeaway, and obviously supermarkets as well. If you go into supermarket, you find a lot of Italian products, and this is not something that every culture can claim. That their culture is so prevalent when they move overseas. But for me, so this made it easier in a way to live abroad. The fact that a lot of things from my culture are appreciated here, definitely made it easier. But obviously, the biggest problem for me was integrating socially, feeling a sense of belonging. So I spent all my life here as a loner, never having any social activities or events with other people. It was either just going to a school or staying at home after work. I never did anything socially. And obviously, this is something that I understand is not normal, and a very rare exception to most people's experiences, particularly over 20 plus years. And but let me know of your experience of moving to live abroad as a foreigner, particularly if you're a person that moved there a long time ago, or when they were children. Did you adapt? Are you still living there? And how do you feel about being an Italian, or an overseas person in a foreign land. Thank you.